On today's RV short, we're going to do a simple how-to on the water system of the RV, specifically on the GeoPro and ePro models. There's basically two systems, and so we're going to go over each one of those systems. As far as the water systems, the first water system is basically just to get water into your camper, and this is going to be hooking up a hose from what they call city water, or your actually outside connection, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. Now on this setup there, the city, what they call city water connection, it's in different places on different campers. Mine's back here in this one big panel in the back on the FD model, but it's in different locations. But you want to come out, it has a little screen here. You basically hook your hose into here and you hook it into a water hose. Another consideration you want to decide is if you want to filter your water as it comes in. If you're going to be drinking, then you might want to filter that water. Sometimes people will still put a filter on it just to keep the sediment from getting bad in your camper. So the GeoPros have a setup, and it's located in different places. Sometimes it's actually underneath one of the benches, but they have this filter system here. Now I don't have my filter in mine. I chose not to filter mine. So you can either, some people bypass this filter, they don't want to deal with this anymore. I've left mine alone for now, but I don't have the filter in there. So what some people do is they'll do an inline filter. When their hose comes in from the back, they'll have an inline filter that'll either be in the front of the hose or in the back before it goes into the camper. So a lot of people like that. I think if I was to do it, that's the way I'd want to do it. These here have a tendency to leak sometimes, and if you take them off repeatedly, the threads finally get to the point where it just leaks. And so I'm not sure it's a great system to have some connections like that inside where it might leak inside. So that's why a lot of people decide to cut these systems out and put their own outside. So if you need to filter, you can use the one in here, or you can use the inline. But in my case, I've just decided not to have a filter at all, and I'm pretty good with that. As I said, we bring our own drinking water with us. When you hook that up to a water hose, basically that does everything you need. It already has the water pressure coming in of what you want to, that actually will go to all your different faucets. So you won't need to use your pump whenever you're hooked into city water. It'll be hooked in here. And what you want to do is you want to have some kind of regulator to make sure, because their pressures might be real high and you don't want to run your system inside. So I'll show you what regulator that I have. At the very least, you want a small, you can get these small little regulators here, and that reduces your water pressure down below, I believe it's below 50 psi. So I usually put this on right at the faucet at the campsite, and that way I've got that lower pressure in my hose as well. And looking at the hoses, you have to decide if you're gonna use your fresh water that's throughout your camper for drinking. If you're going to do that, you need to have a different type hose. This is just a normal garden hose, not recommended for drinking out of. So again, you'll have this hooked up at the faucet, runs in the back. That pressure will actually power all your faucets inside. When you get your water and all that hooked up on the city hookup, you basically want to decide if you want to do hot water, and depending on if you want to run electric or you want to run gas. If you're hooked up to electric, it's probably best just to put your electric on here. There's your gas and electric. So we just put that on there for your electric, and that would get hot water after a while. So in that particular setup, it's pretty easy. There's not a whole lot to do. When you first turn it on, you'll get some bubbles out of it. Sometimes you might have to clean your little faucet pieces if you're not getting very good pressure, but you don't have to do anything else to get your water pressure. So now we're going to go on to the second way that we can have water in our system. And this is if you get to a campsite, either boondocking or you get to a campsite and there's no water spigot there. We're going to go over how to get water into your water system. So again, if you can't hook up to city water and have pressure all the time, what you want to do then is fill up your freshwater tank. This is what mine looks like on the FD model. It's in different locations, but it'll look very similar to this. It's just a hole, and you pour your put your water in there. You can use a water hose. You can put it in a gallon at a time. I think it's about 33 gallons is the holding capacity. If you put water in here and worry people about overfilling it, it'll actually spill out before it goes inside. There's actually a vent right here, and it'll start spilling out of that vent before it gets too full. So you also want to keep in consideration if you have weight consideration. In my case, I'm really conscious of how much weight I'm carrying, so I don't try to keep that tank really full. So if you have water in that tank, you can actually get a reading here. I keep mine at least 1/3 full. And I do that because when I'm traveling, if we want to stop in and use the bathroom, we can always do that. And I've got a video on how to do that when you're traveling. But basically, if you have that tank full of water and you're wanting to use that system, then what you do is then you go up here and you say, okay, I got to hit the water pump. And you'll hear it run until it pressurizes the system. And what that does is now that's your pressure. That pump will keep the pressure throughout. If that keeps on running for some reason, then you've got air in that line. You may have to open up a faucet and let that air out to kind of get it caught up. So on using the freshwater tank, like I was just telling you, you basically have the water pump on, and while you're camping, I usually keep that on the whole time I'm camping. And like depending on if I have gas, if I want my water heaters on, I'll either decide gas or electric. If I'm boondocking, it'll be the gas. And if I'm hooked to electric, I'll just hit the electric. You don't need both of them on, but one or the other. So another way I've got of getting water into that freshwater tank is I actually bring a 5-gallon jug with me. This has a funnel on it, and I use that to carry water if for some reason I get somewhere and I can't get a water hose to where I need to get my water. If I just need a little bit to top off the tank, I'll throw another 5 gallons of water into that tank, fill it up. That way I can kind of keep track of how much water I'm putting into that tank. A couple of things I have to make life a little bit easier is I bought this piece here, and this is to fill up the freshwater tank. And that way I can put this in and I can use this to control the water flow into my tank. And it's not very expensive. You can buy that on Amazon, and it's not too bad to get something like that to control it a little bit better. And it's a little easier to get water into your freshwater tank. Okay, and that's about all I have for this RV short. It's a basic 101 on how the water systems work on your camper, and I hope this has helped out people and getting things set up for when you go camping. So that's about all I have for this RV short, and we'll see you on another one.